You all heard the saying, when you go cheap, it ends up being expensive. Well, that's true with insurance as well. Now, I'm not speaking about going with the cheapest rate between the different companies. I'm talking about going cheap with your liability coverage. Now, liability is what covers you in the event that you have an accident that's your fault. So, in that coverage, you get bodily injury, and then you get property damage protection. So bodily injury breaks down as per person amount, per accident amount. Property damage is just a flat coverage amount. Where people go wrong is that they stick to the state minimum because you can't get any lower coverage than that and be able to register a vehicle, making it usually the cheapest rate that they could get. The problem with state minimum is that it's not enough to cover your bases. So people end up being underinsured and get into accidents and end up having coming out of pocket because they decided to go with the cheapest option. So let's break down state minimums. In New York, the state minimum is 25,000 bodily injury per person. That means in an accident that you cause and people get hurt in the other car, your insurance policy will pay up to 25,000 for the medical bills per person, 50,000 per accident. So now there's a cap on the amount of money per accident for medical bills. So if there's two passengers that get hurt in the other vehicle, they each get 25,000 for their medical bills. But if there's 3 or 4 and they all get hurt and they all have medical bills, your policy is only going to cover up to 50,000. That's where a lot of people end up getting stuck at, because even though there's only one person in the vehicle and that person gets hurt, but if his bills are over 25,000, that's the maximum that your policy is going to cover. So what happens when your policy doesn't have enough money to cover medical bills? We'll get into that at the end of the video. The last part of the coverage is the property damage. So the minimum in New York State is $10,000. Now that may seem like a lot, but the average cost of a brand new car is $50,000. So let's say you get into an accident and that vehicle ends up being totaled, then you're only protected up to $10,000. If your policy limits aren't high enough to cover the whole thing, what could happen is that other person can sue you and come after your personal assets. So if you own a home, if you have a high salary, they can garnish your income and make up the difference from there. So by you trying to save a couple of dollars here and there, you end up risking a whole lot more and could end up having to pay a settlement for the rest of your life, depending on what your situation is and what type of accident you may have. So think twice next time you're shopping your car insurance and you're thinking about the liability limits. Bring them up, man. If you have any questions, send me a message or post it in the comment if you don't mind other people reading it. That way, if somebody has the same question as you, I can answer for the both of you. Thank you so much. Have a good one.